I am gonna try to do the fastest 10,000 mile review of the 2021 Chevy Colorado diesel Duramax. So we bought this back a few months ago. My wife and I, who's filming, are both travel nurses, and we needed a pickup along with her car in case we have different shifts, but we needed a pickup in order to pack all of our stuff and go from assignment to assignment. We've been on two 1,100-mile trips, one from Arizona over to the Oregon coast, and then we worked our way back on one long trip down here to Texas, and the truck did incredibly well. The truck was fully loaded on both of those trips, in the back seats to the ceiling, the whole back of the truck to the canopy roof was full. Her car was on a tow haul trailer, which I have a video of that, going from Arizona to the Oregon coast, and her car was completely full. The truck was squatting pretty good. I think the biggest reason the squat was so kind of exaggerated is I have a leveling kit on the front of the truck, which is a factory leveling kit. So when usually there's a little bit of a rake, so when it's fully loaded it tends to be more level. This was a little bit more exaggerated, I think, because of the leveling kit. So I made a brief list here because I wanted to hit on some bullet points so I can bust through this for you guys who are trying to do a review or evaluate if this is a pickup that you want, or the diesel. I had a gasoline version of this. It was a 2019 work truck, same body style. This one's the Z71, that was just the work truck, and I ended up having to take that because of the lemon law, because the transmission was slipping so bad, and then there's engine knock that they could not figure out how to take care of. So GM actually took that back, and they gave me a credit, so I applied that credit to the diesel version because I didn't want to risk it on the gas version. Anyway, jumping back to those trips, the first 1,100 mile trip, the engine was getting broken in still. I got 15.4 miles per gallon. That's with the truck completely loaded down to, I would say, right around its max, because I calculated the weight of my wife's car along with the trailer, and then I kind of did a guesstimate of all of our stuff in the truck and her car. So I would assume it's right there at its max tow load. The only thing that I had done before I took those two trips is just the intake, and then I have the CTS3 monitor just to monitor all of the truck's vitals, but it was not chipped or anything like that. The second trip, a few months later, is probably like 4 months later, we went all the way back down here to Texas. I got 17.4 miles to the gallon, truck completely loaded down, which is unheard of. This is just a 4-cylinder diesel turbo engine, and when I think of something that small, I'm just blown away at how much it can tow, the torque that it has, and the miles per gallon that I was getting. Also, the truck performed incredibly well. So a lot of the roads all the way here in the middle of the desert were about 80-85 miles an hour speed limit, which seems ridiculously fast, especially when you're fully loaded down. But I was able to keep up with traffic well, and a few times I was able to overtake cars that were doing 70, and I wanted to try to keep up to at least do 80 miles an hour. So going 80 miles an hour did hinder the gas mileage. I think the truck gets best gas mileage between that 55 to 60 mile an hour range, just because of the wind resistance on the front of the truck, and it needs to use more fuel in order to push through that wind resistance. On the exterior of the truck, I'll do a review first. I did the 3M XPEL coating on the entire surface of the truck. I just wanted to protect it on these road trips with rocks and bugs and everything like that. It's holding up pretty well. I think somebody bumped the front of my truck while I was parked at a grocery store with their license plate, and it did gouge it a little bit. It was kind of bummed about that. So I have yet to fix that. The leveling kit we have on the truck, come this way. Come on, babe. I did the steps. Let's see here. This is the canopy. I think the canopy weighs probably about 180 pounds, maybe 200 pounds. Trying to shift that around to get the seals to work properly by myself was a little difficult. And other than that, it's all completely stock on the outside. Sorry, a train just went by. Chevy and General Motors, they put an engine brake on this Duramax diesel. It works incredibly well. I was very impressed. Going down very steep grades, it would bring me down to speeds that were I think it was like about 45, and then it would stop applying the engine brake. And it let off automatically as soon as I gave it gas, so it has an automatic sensor to know when to quit. And again, it worked really well. It saves the brakes. Sometimes it was hitting really high RPM, so I was a little concerned. I was like, well, I mean, if General Motors made the engine this way, it's made to take it. but it does work really well, and I was actually really surprised because sometimes those things seem like a gimmick, but this one does work really well. Okay, I'm gonna go over the interior of the truck. I did the bed rug. That's right, the bed rug, and this has worked really well. It's held up really well. Unfortunately, when it gets a little dusty, I have to vacuum it all out. We did a camping trip with her parents, and going on some of those roads, it was dusty BLM roads, and so I had to go through and vacuum it all out once we were done with our trip. But it didn't take too long. What was really nice is this canopy here that we have. We're using it for overlanding and camping in the back of, and I can easily reach in and vacuum it out this way. One thing I do like is the top of the canopy here is quite a bit taller. I would say maybe 4 or 5 inches, maybe like 5 inches taller than a standard canopy, which allows for quite a bit more, I guess, cargo capacity compared to the other canopies, since this is a mid-sized truck. Nothing's been changed to it. Still the same factory exhaust. The wheels and tire package works really well on the rain and the snow. It does really well. Keep on coming. And then I was just going to jump in here to the back seat. I got the factory floor liners, which I think could be just a little bit better. How they join in the center, that comes undone a little bit. I got the wet Oakley seat covers, which are amazing. They've saved the leather seats quite a bit on several occasions. I put our big Dometic fridge back here with our Jackery, so when we travel from state to state, we pre-make our meals, and those keep all of our food and drinks cold, so if we hit up a hotel room at night, we still have a meal that's already pre-cooked and it's actually something good. So that's a great combo and setup. Over here to the interior of the truck, I'll have you take a glance there and I'll just talk about it. So the interior, again, it's the Z71 package, so it has all the bells and whistles, and it's overall really comfortable. I got the upgraded Bose system with the bigger infotainment center, and I even paid to have the subwoofers placed under the rear seat. It took up a little bit of room, but not much, and it does improve the sound quality quite a bit, you know, when we're on a 26-hour drive and we just want to jam out to some tunes. And once again, I had talked about the steps in one of the previous videos. The reason I like the steps is it was going to save the edge of these leather seats from getting torn up from sliding in and out. This gives you a little bit more of that step up, and you can actually just sit down instead of sliding in and out. Also, the wet Oakley seat covers is going to help the leather preserve underneath. I plan on having this for a long time, so I was doing everything that I can to make this. This is like my pride and joy. This is the best truck I've ever owned, the most expensive truck I've ever owned, so I was really trying to make sure it was good for me for the long term, and so that step was going to help with that. The CTS3 monitor, I just have it running down here and it plugs into the port underneath. The only issue I had with the CTS monitor is when I lived right next to the hospital, I would drive maybe a quarter mile. It was maybe even closer than that. It was kind of embarrassing that I was driving to work instead of just walking. But after that being so close, it had a hard time calculating how many grams of soot the engine had or the DEF had before doing a regen. Sometimes it would read 0, and other times it would jump up to like 103. And so I would unplug it and go for a long drive, maybe like 30 minutes out of town and back, and then plug it back in and it would reset it, and then it would do a regen. I was just concerned about it going into limp mode, so that's one drawback of these trucks, as I've heard from a few of you guys saying that it does, in fact, can go into limp mode. It has not happened to me yet, but this monitor is nice. It kind of helps me gauge and kind of be proactive about it. All right, we'll try this one more time. The wind's kicking up. Hopefully you guys can hear me. So the front seat, driver's seat, I felt was a little small, and I felt the padding was a little stiff on it. Now, for whatever reason, this last trip that we did, it actually softened up. I don't know if I finally got it broken in, but it was a lot more comfortable on my back. I don't know if it's the positioning or anything like that. I'm used to the full-size diesel pickups where it's more of a stadium seating where your feet can hang all the way down and touch in that chair position. Here you have your feet more forward, and so for me it was a little difficult getting that perfect comfortable position. And then the padding on the butt, I think it finally broke in because now it doesn't make my butt go numb as fast. Maybe it's just like a pair of shoes, you got to get it broken in before it's really comfortable, but now that's great. That was really my only complaint about the pickup truck was the seat over long periods of driving. But overall, this thing has been an amazing truck. It can haul everything that I could possibly want to go hauling. We were looking at travel trailers. For it being able to tow 7,700 pounds, we were able to find some travel trailers that might be something that we would like to have for travel nursing, and it can haul it just fine, even with, especially with its dry weight but full. And I was trying to calculate all of our things in it. I think it'll be able to handle that. And then the other bonus is pulling into grocery stores in and out. It's really nice because it's not as wide, so I can get in between the cars. It's just a little bit shorter than a standard box four-door full-size diesel, but it still has all the capacity I need running to the grocery store, and it's just not cumbersome. I'm really excited because eventually I want to lift the pickup truck and do some other things, and I think that will also be really nice because the bigger lifted pickup trucks that are full size can make it a little bit more difficult getting in and out, staying in your lane, staying in your parking space. But this being a smaller truck to start with, doing the lift and stuff, I still think it'll be something really functional and actually just more appropriate for me. I know everyone with truck enthusiasts and diesel enthusiasts out there, sometimes bigger is better, and I guess, you know, it just comes down to whatever your preference is. But this truck has been amazing so far, and I have no regrets purchasing it. And it is an expensive truck because of the diesel upgrades and all of that stuff. It ends up being about a $45,000 sorry, mosquito on you, a $45,000 pickup truck, and that is not cheap by any means. But it's something that we needed, something that was reliable for what our job is at this time. Alright, this is the factory exhaust. You really can't hear anything coming out. It is nice on long drives. It doesn't drone you to death or beat you to death with the sound of the exhaust. Up here. It doesn't beat you to death with the sound of the exhaust. However, I would say having the DEF fluid and the regen and stuff is really annoying. I might do a tune on that here in a few weeks. We'll see how it goes, if I can find some of the parts or anything like that in order to do a tune to free up things and hopefully let it run more efficiently and smooth. Next, we're going to jump under the hood and I'll talk about that. Alright, hood's up. This is the intake that I did, the Momentum GT by AFE. This one sounds really good. You can hear a lot more of the engine turbo going on, and I would definitely recommend this one. It added a few, I think it's like 2 to 3 miles per gallon of MPGs to its overall efficiency, which is great. And there's nothing really exciting underneath the hood. Again, I want to do a tow tune on it just to give me a little bit more horsepower, hopefully protect the transmission and longevity, and then maybe give me some better fuel economy. That concludes the 10,000 mile review of the 2021 Chevy Colorado diesel, and it does everything that I need it to. I know everyone has their own requirements or demands based off of their job or what they like to do, but this one's perfect for us. It tows a lot, it tows it well. I haven't had any issues at the 10,000 mile marker, and that's why I'm going to start doing some upgrades to this pickup truck over the next several weeks, just because it has finally got through some miles and it wasn't going to have the same lemon law issues that the gasoline version was. And I'm incredibly pleased. And if you guys are going to be getting the 2.8 liter or considering it, I have heard through some of the GM forums that they might discontinue the diesel in 2023 and go to one engine platform across all of their trucks. As far as their mid-size pickup trucks, GMC and the Chevrolet versions, I think it's a 4-cylinder gas turbo. It's supposed to have good torque and everything, but I just really like the idea of having the diesel. It's something fun, something I've always wanted, the mini diesel, and I hope you like the video.